Hello, everybody. Welcome to Political Excess. Today, let's take a look at my updated prediction for the upcoming governor's elections for the month of August. There's still some primaries coming up, so there'll be another whole month before the final 2 month sprint. That's when all the action happens after Labor Day. But for right now, I didn't make a lot of changes, but let's get into it anyway. My safe seats are over a 10-point margin. So let's jump into it right now and start with the safe seats. For the Democrats, it's going to be Hawaii. It'll probably be Lieutenant Governor Josh Green against Duke Iona. Iona is not a bad candidate. It's just such a blue state. Josh Green will very likely win that seat. And back up to California, I don't think there's any danger there of Newsom going down. Colorado, Polis, he's not in any danger there. Illinois, unless anything changes, Pritzker, he's going to cruise to re-election there. New York, Kathy Hochul appears to be very likely to win. Something could change at the last minute, but that's staying dark blue. Massachusetts, I don't think Republicans have a moderate enough likely nominee to win that. I think Democrats should flip that pretty comfortably. In Rhode Island, incumbent Dan McKee, he might have some trouble in the primary, but in the general, I'm not seeing any Republicans that are going to make it interesting. And in Maryland, similar to Massachusetts, where the more moderate candidate did not get nominated for the Republicans, it appears Democrats are going to flip another governor's seat here. Now, for the safe Republican seats, there's not a lot to say about these states. Idaho, Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Texas. Now, Texas, I think, is borderline likely to safe. I think it could get a little under 10. I think it could get a little over 10. Most of the polling shows it under 10, so I could come down to a likely on this next month. The last time Abbott won by way over 10 in a blue wave year, I think it could be just at about 10, maybe up to 12 points. Next up is Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, South Carolina, up here to Ohio. I don't think Mike DeWine is going to lose by under 10 there. And then the last two, everybody's favorite states here, Vermont and New Hampshire. Phil Scott, Chris Sununu, those two are probably unbeatable. Now the likely Democratic states. This is a 5 to 10 point margin. First is Minnesota. That could go up to safe. It's possible it gets down to lean. Still a lot unknown there. They have to have their primary. Tim Walz, he's likely to win re-election. Not sure what the margin will be. And in Connecticut, the rematch there between incumbent Ned Lamont and Bob Stefanowski. Last time it was definitely close. There's a lot of close elections for governor in Connecticut. Republicans have an outside chance to win it. It's an incumbent. It's a blue state. It's going to be an uphill battle for them. Now, the likely Republican states. Let's start in Alaska. They do have ranked choice voting now. I think Mike Dunleavy is in position to win, but it's not completely out of the question for an upset in Alaska. Next up is Iowa. Kim Reynolds. I think she's going to get that pretty comfortably. Might be under 10 points, though. And the last likely Republican state is Florida. Ron DeSantis, I think most people think he's in strong position to win re-election, whether you love him, whether you hate him. It's probably going to be Charlie Crist taking another loss in Florida. Now for the lean Democratic states. First up is Oregon. This is a state Republicans definitely want to pick up. It's the right environment, and it's an open seat. It's actually a three-way race there between a Democrat, a Republican, and an independent who's drawing its support from both sides. The market shows this as the Democrats winning it pretty comfortably. They might, but there's a lot of time for this race to take shape. I would give the Democrat, Tina Kotek, the edge, but she could definitely lose when it's all said and done. Next is New Mexico. Republicans do have their strongest candidate probably in Mark Ronchetti to go up against Michelle Lujan Grisham. They definitely give the incumbent the advantage. There's a lot of talk about the abortion issue in various states, including New Mexico, how that could factor in. It might factor in. It might factor in less than people think. But this is a seat that Republicans are capable of picking up in this kind of environment. But right now, I think Democrats will hold it. Next is Michigan. We all know the chaos that happened with the Republicans with ballot qualifications and signatures. They're having a competitive primary right now. Hard to gauge general election polling. But for now, I think it leans toward Whitmer. And the last state here is Maine. Paul LePage and Janet Mills, that's a great battle. Anything technically could happen. Maine is a weird state. Seems like there's always an independent there that sucks away a lot of the vote. We'll see what happens, but I think Mills does have the edge. And I also forgot about Nevada. I think Steve Sisolak, the Democrat, he could lose to Joe Lombardo. It's going to be close. I could change this, but for now, I'm going to think Sisolak holds on by 2 or 3 points. Let's go on to the lean Republican states. First is Arizona. The primary is coming up pretty soon. It'll probably be Carrie Lake against Katie Hobbs. I think the Republicans are poised to hold this seat, even if people think Lake is controversial. It's definitely possible Lake loses, but all things considered, I think Republicans should be able to hold this seat at least by a couple of points. And next we have Georgia. Brian Kemp seems like he's favored to win against Stacey Abrams, another rematch there. He's consistently leading in the polls by a few points generally or more, so I don't think Georgians are looking to boot him out at this point. And finally, let's go on to the tilt states. This is usually about a 1 point margin or less. I have one for the Democrats, and this is Pennsylvania. I made a change here from tilt Republican to tilt Democrat. Plenty of time for things to change. There's been some polls out, and most of them are favorable for the Democrats. I can't ignore all that polling, even with the environment, even with the open seat. I'm going to have to give this a tilt for the Democrats. It's going to be very close. Could go the other way, or it could even go stronger to the left. But for now, I'm going to say it goes very narrowly for the Democrats. And finally, the tilt Republican states. First is Kansas. It's a seat Republicans definitely want to pick up. They want to oust Laura Kelly there. I think they're favored to do so a little bit. I don't think they're going to win it by a lot. If they do, could lose and Laura Kelly holds on. I think last time was a bit of a fluke. She won with under 50% of the vote in a blue wave year. She is an incumbent now. That's in her favor. Some of the abortion stuff might end up being in her favor, but I think Republicans should be able to flip that seat. And Derek Schmidt will be the next governor of Kansas. Finally, the last state is Wisconsin. Republicans definitely also want to pick this seat up. They do have a primary coming up. Looks like it might be Tim Michaels over Rebecca Clayfish. It's another state where abortion is going to try to be front and center from the Democrats. That's their best weapon to use. Aside from that, Republicans should look good in Wisconsin to narrowly flip that state. Evers could hold on. It's definitely possible. For now, I'm going to say Republicans flip it by about a point. So that's a look at my map here. That would result in 28 Republicans, 22 Democrats. Let me know down below, did I get these right? Did I get a ton of them wrong? Please let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy this channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.